Hi everyone, I'm Janet Baker with the Monticello Corporation, makers of Paper Tiger and Digital Tiger. We want to thank you for attending today's webinar, and as an extra thank you, we will be entering you into our Apple iPad contest that ends June 30th. We have Ann McGurty of Strategize and Organize presenting today how Paper Tiger works. But before I introduce you to Ann, I wanted to let you know that today is the last day of our 20% off sale. So if you don't already have Paper Tiger or know someone who needs it, you can purchase through Ann's affiliate link, which I will be pasting into the chat section of your webinar panel on your screen. Since we provide these webinars to you for free, this will help offset her time. So just watch for those little messages that I will be posting in your chat section. Now, just some information about how the webinar works. If you have questions during the presentation today, there is a question section in the lower right corner of the webinar panel on your screen. Note that there is a drop-down box to choose to whom you send your questions, either to all attendees or to the presenters only. You can submit questions anytime, and we will try our best to answer them during the call, as well as those that have been asked during your webinar registrations. We will also be posting the questions along with the answers on our blog under the webinar category, along with the webinar recording as soon as it is available. Now, joining us from sunny Arizona, we are honored to have Ann McGurty, CEO and founder of Strategize and Organize. Ann is a keynote speaker, productivity coach, organizational consultant, and author of the book Lost in Your Own Office, and a contributing author of the book Speaking Your Truth, Courageous Stories from Inspiring Women, Volume 2. Ann will be covering as much as possible within the hour allotted today to help you use Paper Tiger more effectively, but of course it's impossible to give every detail and address every workflow situation in a one-hour webinar. The custom details are what you need Ann's services for. And Ann helps to improve productivity for individuals as well as organizations of all sizes and across all industries. Her entrepreneurial upbringing and corporate background mesh with her experience as a professional business process consultant and trainer to get the necessary results for each of her clients. And she actually guarantees the results based on the agreement you make with her before she begins work with you. Currently, Ann is offering 30 free minutes for anyone on the call that will contact her to get on her schedule for an opportunity to help you decide if Paper Tiger and Digital Tiger are the right tools for you, and to decide if your office is efficient and organized as it should be. She is currently running a special 30-day program that includes a 1-hour weekly one-on-one phone call, total of 4 hours, and unlimited email quick questions. This package is usually $1,500 for a 3-month program, but for only $297, you'll receive a 30-day coaching program to assess your organization, create the right plan customized for the way you work, identify the right tools, and create a plan for maintenance. If you contact her today before midnight tonight, she will also include a free one of her free books, one of her books for free to you. Say that correctly.
That was good.
Okay.
That's a lot to say.
I know. So I'll be pasting Ann's contact information into the chat section for you to pick up. So contact her today and take advantage of this special offer. Ann may be in Arizona, but she's nationally recognized as an expert and works with people in person and virtually to customize a system to help make their lives more productive and organized. Ann, thank you for your time and dedication to teaching others how to use Paper Tiger more effectively and productively. We welcome you today, and thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And welcome everyone who is on the call today. I always say that our most valuable asset is our time. and you taking an hour out of your busy day to be on this call tells me that you're really committed to investing in your personal growth. And those people that get ahead are those who are committed to personal growth and are being decisive about doing something about being more productive. Well, that's why I work with the Paper Tiger. The Paper Tiger not only allows you to get organized with your physical paper, but once you get control of the physical paper, then you have a concept to understand how you can get digital and start filing your paperwork electronically and using the added piece to the Paper Tiger of the Digital Tiger to be able to find not only your paper files, but also your digital information as well. Now, I know a lot of you on the call have questions about some pretty basic things. A lot of people really have a hard time getting started. And of course, that is the hardest part. You've already made the decision that you want to get organized, but the next step is to actually do something about it. So, okay, you're on the call. You have the Paper Tiger, and if you don't, I hope you sign up for it today and use my affiliate link and start using it. But once you get started, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to see, like on my screen, and you are going to think about your place that you want to organize and think of that as a database. Before I get a little technical here, I want to tell you that the Paper Tiger, yes, is about organizing your papers. And we think of a concept, we want to think in very simple terms when you're looking at the papers on your desk. Now, most people bought the Paper Tiger because they've got piles of paper in their office. There's piles of paper on the floor, on the desktops, stuffed away in drawers, and they're just completely overwhelmed because they don't know where to start. So the best place to start is obviously that spot that makes you kind of crazy, that you go to all the time, that one pile that you keep sifting through. You know the pile I'm talking about. Well, statistically, those piles of paper, 90% of that just keeps getting shuffled through, and you're only using 10% of it. So that 10% is what we're probably going to end up focusing on if you were to take a look at that pile. When you're looking at that pile, one of the most preliminary things that I tell my clients is when you're looking at that pile, start to make a decision to sort it and keep it into 3 very simple piles. And there's going to be 3 piles and then the trash can. Make a decision if it's something that you want to file for reference, and that goes in one pile. You make another pile for those pieces that you actually need to do something. So it's a current project and you want to keep it handy. So we're going to refer to those as action. And that could be something that you use repetitively. So for instance, if you have a Chamber of Commerce meeting that you're part of the board and you go there every week, you might want to have an action file for that Chamber of Commerce. And then the next pile is I call it T for timed, and that's things that are going to go into a tickler file because you need to deal with it on a specific date. And then there's another file, which we're going to put another T for toss. So you've got something that's going to be trash, or you're going to recycle it, or you're going to shred it. So you've got 3 piles: the reference, the actionable, the timed for your tickler, and then the toss pile. Once you go through all the papers on your desk and sort them out into those categories, then you can be ready to start your database on the Paper Tiger. So here I am in my screen. As you can see, I've been doing this a long time, so I've got lots of stuff going on. But let's keep it really simple. And we're going to go ahead and create a new database for yourself. And what this is going to be is we're going to call it the Arizona Company. So say that's the name of your company. I can't think of anything else more generic right now. So we've got the Arizona company file. That's the name of the database. So here you are, the CEO of your company files that are all sitting at you on your desktop. You've now created a database in the Paper Tiger, and the Paper Tiger prompts you and says, you don't have any locations yet. So what does that mean? Excuse me, what does that mean? In the Paper Tiger, I want you to start thinking about your paper files kind of like a store. Every piece of paper that you have is like a piece of inventory, and you're going to be indexing that inventory into the Paper Tiger. I say inventory because it reminds me of the days a long time ago when I used to be in the jewelry business, and I used to go all over the country, and I would sell jewelry to small jewelry stores and department stores. And I literally would have cases of jewelry out of the trunk of my car, and I would just, go up to stores and ask them if they were looking to buy some jewelry. Well, one day I went into this one store on the western slope in Colorado, and it was a cute little mom and pop shop. And I asked, the owner if he, needed any silver hoop earrings. And he's like, well, I don't think I have any. And I looked around the store, and there was no organization whatsoever. And I kind of was surprised he didn't have any silver hoop earrings. But he decided to buy some because he thought he needed them. Well, lo and behold, it turned out he had a lot of silver hoop earrings, but he never wrote down his inventory of where his jewelry was. So he was making a mistake by purchasing additional inventory because he didn't know he had it. Now that can happen in the business place when it comes to your paper files as well. You can have a piece of paper sitting on your desk, and someone can be coming to you asking you for some critical information that has a financial cost to it. And if you don't know where it is, it may end up costing you money because you're going to either have to reproduce it or pass on an opportunity because you can't find it. That's a risk that is very avoidable with the Paper Tiger. And I'm going to show you how to deal with that paper so that you know where it is in 30 seconds or less when somebody asks you to find it. Now, in the Paper Tiger, they refer to locations. And the first thing it's going to ask you is, what is the location of where you're going to file things? Now, I just asked you to create a couple of piles, and one of them was for reference, and one of them was for action. So we're going to add a location referring to the functionality of those locations. So for instance, we have the reference files, and we're going to say these are our files that we still need and want to access, but they don't need to be right in the line of fire. They don't need to be within hand's reach, within immediate access. And then I put in there, they are in the black 5-drawer file cabinet in the hall. Okay, so those are your reference files. And there might be 200 of those in that file cabinet. So we're going to go ahead and add that location. With the Paper Tiger, having the extra description here of where and what the reference files are all about will not only help you as you develop more and more locations over time, but it will also help others in case they are looking for a file later down the line and they don't know where it is. So now they know that your reference files are in that black 5-drawer file cabinet in the hall. And if they were looking for something that you currently were involved in, chances are, since you put in there that they're not often accessed, that they may not be in that area too. That's just another hint. So let's create another location for the action files. So the action files, these are current projects or ongoing projects. And they are the drawer closest to your desk. I say to Anne. These are the ones that are your go-to drawer, where these are the drawer closest to Anne's computer on the right. Okay, so on the right side of the desk. And I say right because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed and you like to look to the left and pull files that way, then you would put it there. Now, since these are your action and current projects, most people don't tend to have many more than, say, 20, excuse me. Most people have about 20. Beyond that, you've got an awful lot of action going on. And boy, you are really a multitasker if you're handling that many projects. So let's start out with add that location of action files. So now you've got two drawers that we're going to refer to with those piles that you just separated. So now you've got an action drawer and a reference drawer. Now the next thing is people look at that pile of paper and they start filing, and it turns out it wasn't that big of a deal, and they only needed maybe 3 or 4 files. So they only, set up 3 or 4 files. Well, that turns out to be a problem later down the line, because what happens is when you have some more filing a week from now and you didn't set up a file today, chances are you're just going to procrastinate filing it again because you didn't have a file made. Well, the Paper Tiger thought ahead. What they have is a program section that says print tabs or labels. And what we're going to do is we are going to print labels for that entire drawer. So the people who plan out their organization and their filing are going to be ahead of the game, because it'll be that much easier later down the line when they go to add additional files to that drawer. So the Paper Tiger has a template for creating labels that go on your hanging file folders. The little plastic tabbies with the cardboard little insert. Well, you can use Avery file folder labels to put onto those sheets of paper, those stickers that are on a sheet of paper that you put on the cardboard paper insert to the hanging files. My favorite is always the 8167. So when I choose that label, then I have my entire action drawer on little stickers. This is just a plain PDF. And then I go ahead and I put this sheet into my printer. And then I would go ahead and print this on an Avery file tabbed sticker sheet. And then I just peel off these little labels, and then I put them on in my drawer, and I'm ready to start filing because I've got that drawer physically set up. And then I would go ahead and do the same with reference and see how I have 200, because that way I'm all ready to go, even if I had 160 different files. So I am prepared. Once you do this, okay, it might take you maybe a half an hour, maybe an hour, it depends if you get interrupted with phone calls. But that step of preparation will set the scene for you so that you have a place to put in your reference files or in your action files. So the only decision that you have to make now, the only decision that you have to make is what you're going to name the file. Let me go back to my Paper Tiger. Every now and then I get a little ahead of myself. Okay. All right, so here we are, back in the Arizona, oops, that was a different one, sorry. I've done this a few times, different webinars. Okay, we're going to go to the Arizona office, Arizona company files. All right, so you're going through your files, and the first piece of paper that I came across was, let's say they were Paper Tiger. And what they are is notes on webinar with Anne McGurty. All right, so this is something I want to keep the notes because I want to put it in an action file because I want to refer back to them when I actually go to implement my Paper Tiger system. So I'm going to add them to action 1. So there you can see now it's in my filing system. I've inventoried the name of the file as Paper Tiger. Keywords are webinar with Ann McGurty. So later, if I can't remember the name of the software program or you can't remember my name, what you can at least remember is maybe webinar, and it's going to find webinar and it's going to direct you to this file number to know where to find those notes. Okay, so now the next piece of paper that you came across was maybe a title to your car. You just paid it off last week and you're all excited. So the name of it's going to be car title. And you're thinking, okay, well, maybe sometime you may just be looking for the car, the auto. You might be referring to the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. It may have to do with insurance records, or it may be the name of your car. Okay, so you put it under reference 1, and now when you go to look for the title of your car, it's going to reference you to reference 1 to find that information. Okay, so you go through what you're going to do with the Paper Tiger is you're going to go through that pile of paper on your desk, and you are going to think of keywords that make sense for you. Let's do another reference 1. So here's another reference 1. I'm sitting at somebody else's desk here because I'm in between meetings here today. I'm sitting here, and here is new website. And here I'm seeing notes on layout, web guy's phone number. Here are some photo shots, and here are, what else do we have? Other people's business cards. Okay, so there's some ideas that we want to put in the reference file because you want to refer to it later down the line. But then as I said that, I thought, you know what, maybe on this desk, that website information is something that's really something that is going to be an action project. So you can correct a mistake and move it by checking this area here, and you can transfer it, move it to a new location, action, and you can move this item. Now, when it just said, do I want a confirmation, yes or no, by saying yes, I want a confirmation, the Paper Tiger will have a status that that file is transferred out pending. Since I'm kind of busy right now and I'm physically not going to move it out of that file to another, it's kind of good to see that so that I don't forget where I am going to be moving it to. So later, when I know I'm not going to be distracted and I want to move the files from one area to the other, I can go to the confirmation icon here and see what items need to be moved to a new area. So the new website file is going to move from reference 2 to the next available action file in the action folder or drawer when I hit this button and say confirm. So now when I go to my locations, action has 2 files in there, one for the Paper Tiger and one for the new website. And in the reference location, we still only have the 1 file regarding the car title. Now, when I'm working with people, one of the things that they do is they say, okay, well, Ann, I've got a lot more than paper. And I get a little overwhelmed because I've got so many books. When I start going through all this paperwork, I've got books sitting all over my desk. And then I ask them, do you want to keep all those books handy? in a bookcase, or do you want to put them in a storage box? You tell me what works for you. Well, they'll tell me, well, I do have a nice bookcase over there, and there's a couple of extra shelves. So I say, let's go ahead and create a location for books. So we'll go back to the location, and we're going to create a new one and refer to the cherry bookcase in Ann's office. Just say cherry bookcase, and the description will be the 4-shelf case in Ann's office. And capacity, you've probably got room for about 100 books in there, okay? So we're going to go ahead and add this location. So when you're going through organizing your desktop, now when you come across a book, you can add that book. And I'm going to look at one in here. Well, I'll use my book, for example. Okay, lost in your own office. You can say the author. You can say the keywords. I've got tips for getting organized. And the paper tiger is in there. Okay, so there's a reference for a book in my file cabinet, and we're going to add it to the cherry bookcase. I also came across, oh, here's the book, the 4 Agreements. All right, add that to the bookcase. Now we've got it. I also came across Feng Shui for your home. We're adding it to the book. Okay, then another one is, oh, here's something I want to keep. Here's Real Simple Magazine. And it's the May 2012 issue. And it has a specialty, and I'm making this up right now. There's a special on green organizing products. All right, so so if I'm looking for an article in a magazine, that's the only reason I'm keeping that magazine, then that's a darn good way to indicate it with your paper tiger so that you can find it later down the line. So here's another one. Say we have our In Style magazine for those girls like me out there that like their clothes. And it says the spring 2012 sandals. All right, or maybe it's swimsuits for your shape. That's why I want to keep that In Style magazine. All right, so now you get the idea of how you can organize other things other than your paper. Okay, let's create another location. What other kind of things are you thinking about that you might want to organize? Well, a really big thing for those of you that want to use the paper tiger at home as well as at the office, one of the really common things that people like to organize are holiday items. Now, what holiday do we have coming up? Well, we've got Memorial Day, and we've got Memorial Day flags. And we have a box with the flags in it. So we may also have in there 4th of July, paper products. We may have, I'm not going to say fireworks. Can't help but think that at 4th of July. But we might have little, confetti stuff. And we might have another 4th of July flag. You know those flags that people hang outside their house? Okay, so we've got a couple things in that holiday box. And the capacity here can be still as many as you think will fit in that box. So later down the line, when you're looking for, where is that darn confetti? I know we spent 20 bucks for that, and I really don't want to go out and spend $20 again. So if you search it, oops, maybe I spelled it wrong. Okay, so, well, that's weird. Usually when I'm in an item, maybe I didn't spell it right. What did I do wrong there? Oh, you know why? What I did here is common. I love it when the expert makes mistakes because it helps me have an opportunity that you might have this mistake as well. I am in the location, and the holiday items, the description of what that box is what I used for what was in there. So holiday items is the box in the garage that is blue with the brown packing tape. Okay? So then when you go into that box later down the line, then you can add a new item, and we can just say it's miscellaneous, and we can list all of those things that are in that box and then add it. So when you have a bunch of things that you're putting in a box like that, you don't always have to put them all individually. If it's all related to one thing, you might just put it in as one generic grouping of keywords. And then it's quick and easy, and you do it. All right? Now, another location. As Janet said, right now I am living in Arizona, but I also have a house in Colorado. So one of the things that I did is I packed up my winter clothes and my summer clothes. And my winter clothes are in Colorado. So for those of you, here it is, mid-May. If you haven't done your spring cleaning yet, here's a really great time to package up or move your winter clothes into a storage area. So what you can do is you can create a new location for your household storage closet. Now I have a condo, so that's what I call is the 9th floor storage room. And then I say key is in the linen closet in the heart box. I'm making that up, so you're not going to find it. And there's going to be, say, 100 things in there, okay? So in my household storage closet, before I left Colorado, I put my things in there. Okay, so I have my winter red parka. Well, if I don't remember that, I'm like, where is that Calvin Klein jacket? Okay, and then I'll say from Nordstrom. Because if I don't remember what it was, I may remember Nordstrom, I may remember parka, I may remember Calvin Klein. All right. Okay, then I have my black ski boots, and I'll say the red plaid from Target. And I was with Brenda when I bought them. Okay, so I put Brenda's name in there because maybe I don't remember the ski boots or the boots, but I may remember that I was with Brenda when I bought them. All right, so we go ahead and we add it there. Another thing that went into storage was something wintery. Let's think of something wintery. Oh, the box of scarves. Okay, now I just said scarves. So I said scarf. Let's say also spell it differently, the correct way. So in case I forget, I'm looking for a scarf in the singular or plural, the paper tiger will be able to find it. And what we'll put in there is we'll say my light blue cashmere, my ivory scarf from Ireland, my heavy black cashmere, and my sports scarves for October run. All right, so I know now some of the indicators of things that I like that I want to remember. All right, so let's go back to locations and say here I am in Phoenix, and I am not going to be able to make it back for the October run. But that October run has scarves related. It's for the Komen Foundation, so it's breast cancer, and that's near and dear to me. So I want to make sure one of my friends can get that scarf when if I'm not there. So what I would do is with the paper tiger, I would type in the word October, because I couldn't remember anything else, the October run, and know that if I sent my girlfriend to my storage box, to the box that I labeled box of scarves, she'll be able to find the October run scarf that we're looking for. So that's really handy. And I'll tell you, since I've been down here in Arizona, this has come up already, because what I needed, for instance, was a box that had some paperwork that I didn't think was important. For instance, the title of my car, I didn't know I needed it, and then I was able to find it in a box up there, and I just sent in one of my friends up there, and they found it and were able to mail it to me right away. So, you know, like the person in the jewelry store, if you don't know you have it, it's not going to do any good for you. So what would happen if I didn't have that title? How much time and money would I have spent trying to find it by going back to the DMV, getting a duplicate copy, and fretting, wondering who else could be finding a copy of my title? All right. Another valuable thing that you can use the paper tiger for is lock boxes. That's a really good one. So we'll say the bank lockbox. And we'll say it's at Great Western Bank in Denver off of University. Okay? And we're going to say capacity, say there were 6 items in there. That's not critical here. It's just that when you go to add items to it, at least you'll know what's in there. For security reasons with lockbox, it might be really good to keep an accounting of it. So I know that I've got my passport in there. There's the passport. We might say we've got a special piece of jewelry. So it could be Mom's diamond ring. Go ahead and add that. And it might also be, you know, maybe, I think you get a marriage license. I've never been married, so I think that's a piece of paper that you get. You might add that and put that in your lockbox. For some reason, you might have a special, say news article. Maybe there was something that was in the paper once that you never, ever, ever want to lose. So you might say Ann's achievement as announced in the Denver Post. That's not true, but what the heck? You might have something similar to that. So here's the things that would be in your lockbox. So someday, later down the line, you're like, where's that article? Oh, that news article, the achievement one, it's in my lockbox. So that's how you know where to go when you are looking for something. All right. So I know I'm going through here kind of fast, but as I said, when we were going through our surveys with the paper tiger, one of the most common things that people say is they have a really hard time getting started. Now, getting started, again, is all about making a decision based on the piles of paper that you have on your desk. So if you go back and go through and sort them and have them in reference, actionable, and timed. Oh, I didn't address timed, but I'll do that in a second. And then toss those that you don't need, then you'll start moving forward with the action and reference. Now for the timed ones, there's 2 rules of thinking here. One, you can have a tickler file, but you also can use the paper tiger as a tickler. So say for instance, I have a piece of paper that is and I'm seeing on somebody's desk here, we have a certified mail receipt. So let's go into my action files, and I'm going to put in a new file to get this little receipt off the desk, and it's going to be, okay, I'm making this up, but it says Zappos, and we're saying receipt for returned shoes. Okay, they were expensive, so this person may have sent it on certified mail. Now, as a tickler, though, if I sent it yesterday, I want to make sure in a week that I am going to get that receipt returned to me. So let's go ahead and add this to Action 3. Okay, not sure what happened there. Let's do that again. I'm freezing. Now this is not.
Ann, are you trying to save that?
Yep.
Yeah, click on Add to.
Yep, I'm trying to. Okay, I think this is a part of the local cable company.
Hit the cancel button.
Okay, we're going to cancel that. Okay, I think that might be an indication of the cable company here, so sorry, people. But you see how easy it is. If it does freeze up, we can just remember where you were, and let's start that action over again. Now, this brings me to thinking that when you use the Paper Tiger, the online version, if you notice, I am using Google Chrome, and you want to use Google. My recommendation is Google Chrome. I've found other services are not as friendly using the Paper Tiger. I'm kind of frozen here again.
And try to refresh your browser and see if that helps.
Okay, I just did.
Oh, click on the Stay Signed In button.
Okay, we're there. Okay, so we're going to go back to my action drawer, and we're going to go back to the certified receipt, and it's going to say Zappos, and it's going to be a receipt for certified mail for shoes, and say that they were really expensive, but say they were Gucci, okay? So you want to add them to action 3. Oops, let me back up. What I wanted to do here is I wanted to remember in a week that I can throw out that receipt or follow up on it. So we're going to go ahead and we save the changes. So now you see an action date of 5/23. Okay, now in the Paper Tiger, when you open up your Paper Tiger for the first time in the morning, what's going to happen is you're going to have a list of reminders. And there's a reminder horizon automatically set at 7 days. And you can change that under your database references and have reminder horizons pretty much for from 1 to 30 days. If you're in here all the time, like every day, then maybe a 2-day horizon is something that you might want, so that every couple of days you're aware of what reminders are coming up. So now when if I were to close my Paper Tiger on the 21st, it'll pop open that there's a reminder. Right now it says you have no reminders, but what would happen is it would show you that you have a reminder, and there would be a reminder up here on the top of your screen, so that you'll know to go into action 3. You got the receipt back from the post office, and you're like, okay, I don't need that anymore. It's good. And maybe you might want to do a reminder again. So let's edit it and say on 5/30/2012, you want to have a reminder again, but this time you want to say check for credit on credit card. And save changes, and you know what to do when that pops up again on May 30th. Now, as I just did that, it reminded me of something. You see on the Paper Tiger, we've got item number, the name of the file, and keywords, category, action date, and status. Well, there's another column that we can have, which is the notes. So we're going to add notes, so that we have another column that we can refer to regarding your files. And if you find that you're going to be in and out of your files a lot, and you're going to be using it as a tickler file, that's where I like to use the notes. So that when you're reminded of what that file coming up on the 30th, you can go to the note and see, why did we ask for this to be tickled up? It's to check for credit on your credit card. And then when 5/30 comes and you see that there is a credit on your credit card, you can just go ahead, delete that item, You don't need a reminder because you're just throwing it out right now and it's gone. All right, so that's how you can use it as a tickler file. All right, I've got quite a few more things to do. I could keep going, but I want to take a break here just for a minute and see if we have any questions from our audience of things that they would like addressed. So I'm going to slow down for a minute, and if you have something that you would like me to address or have any question, no question is too silly, then I will address it for you right here. Janet, do we have any?
Okay, there's one specific one that I kind of answered offline, but I thought I'd let you answer it and see what you had to say. What if we really want our files named instead of numbered? I understand the logic of Paper Tiger numbering system, but what if we also want to be able to look at our folders and find things visually instead of using Paper Tiger?
Okay, I know that's a very common question where people say, I'm so used to seeing the name of the file. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And what I do recommend, though, is, and that's a perfect opportunity to go back to the print the tabs and labels. No, is that what I want to do? Okay, so for instance, say for instance, you want to look at your files. So we want to look at, am I doing this right?
You want to report or that labels? Oh, never mind.
Never mind, you're right. What I want to do then is say, for instance, you want to look at them, you want to look at all the files alphabetically. So what I would do is I would go ahead and I would look at the file location action, and after you've done it all in the Paper Tiger logic that we recommend that you do, then I would do a report sorting it by item name, and I would run labels, or I would run a list first so you can see alphabetically what's in that drawer. Okay, so a lot of times that's enough for people just to see the files in alphabetical order, and then they'll know to go into that item number. And if you have like 30 or 100, this can be really helpful if that's how you're used to it. And then another option is then you can create labels. You'll still have the item number 1, item number 2, action 1, action 2, and I always recommend that you keep them linearly lined up in the same, well, all the 1s at the far left of the file folder and all the 2s just jogged over one more place on the Pendaflex folders, and then it goes like 1, 2, and you stagger the numbers. And then in the third position on the file folder, so like in the middle, maybe that's where you can have the alphabetical word of what's in that file. So you can you can handwrite, or excuse me, have the spelled out name of the label, Paper Tiger or website right there next to the Action 1 file. I find that most of the time, actually, I've had clients like 100% of the time, I'll do this, and before the end of our session when we're working together, they'll take them all out. They're like, I guess I really don't need it, because it's our accommodation to the way it used to be, of how we're so used to doing it the other way that people feel more comfortable wanting to have it alphabetically. And once you get into the Paper Tiger system, you're like, oh, that makes sense. I don't really need that anymore. So that might be your experience too. But there's the option of how to do it if that's what happens. Okay, sorry, I bounced myself out again.
And all right. Too, Anne, using the Paper Tiger way, the concept behind Paper Tiger is you don't have to worry about the item name specifically. I mean, because you can do the search and you find it. So you don't have to go in the A's when you probably filed it in the T's anyway.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Another question is, I'm a bit confused. Is location a physical location such as garage with the items in the list, holiday items? It seems like holiday items in action would be items within a location and not locations themselves.
Okay. All right. So that's a really good question. And oh, you know what? I don't know. I've got an idea. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to show you. I'm going to do something really quick here. I just put this on my website the other day, or on my Facebook, because it was such a great example of a client that I worked on. And here's a perfect example of what this was. A residential client that I worked on. Okay, see this big picture? This is a downstairs storage closet, okay? So you might think that that is a location. But when you look at this room downstairs, what really is the location is the green storage bucket. And here's the location, the red storage bucket. So what you would do is in the paper tiger, in location, you would make a new file and say red storage bin. And what you can do is go back to that picture and say the description of where it is. So you would say downstairs on the metal rack to the far left on top. Okay? So that's the red storage bin. So the location is there, and the description is defining where it is. And there might be 100 things in that little box. And that red storage bin, for this person, what was in there, as I remember it, is those were the ribbons for, what did she do? Needlepoint. There's something having to do with needlepoint. And it was for all the holiday needlepoint and scraps. And maybe there was a circle hoop that keeps the fabric together. All right? So here you've got the little location of the red storage bin, and you identified very generically of everything that's in there, so you don't have to type in every single piece of thing that's in that storage box. So you can go through an entire storage area like this, and you can say the black vertical drawers, and you can label it vertical 1, vertical 2. You know, you can label each of these individual drawers as locations, and then they can easily find what is in there. So that was a kind of a fun project that I did with a client at a residential level, where we were able to inventory everything into the paper tiger, because she had thousands of dollars worth of materials for her arts and crafts. So you can imagine if she went to the store, can you imagine looking for a circle hoop? Put that in there and find out, oh, it's in my red storage bin. And again, well, where is the red storage bin? As well as you defined it under locations, right here, where it says downstairs, oh, excuse me. You go back to locations, you look for the description, it's downstairs on the metal rack to the far left on top. How easy would that be for you to go find that red storage bin and go find that little metal circle hoop, so you don't go out and spend your afternoon running out to the craft store to go find another one that costs you $3. You can save so much time and money, and it's not necessarily the money of the thing that you stored, but it's your time that you can now have, and the frustration of not being able to find what you want by using it and inventorying it within your paper tiger. Well, I hope that was a helpful visual, because I know that that sure helps me a lot. Now, here's another thing. When one of the things that I love to do with a paper tiger, and especially in a corporate environment or in a business environment where people have a ton of paper, well, after a lot of times when people haven't filed for years or have felt disorganized, what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll input everything into the paper tiger very quickly and easily. And in about 3 to 6 months, we'll revisit what they had in their file cabinet, because they weren't ready to make a decision. Just getting organized is overwhelming enough sometimes. So keep it simple, inventory everything into the correct location, and then we can later do what we call the clean out report. So let's go ahead, and what we can do is it can help you go to specific areas, locations that you set up, and say, for instance, you wanted to go through your reference files because you had 200 of them. And we want to go through, and let's look at them alphabetically. And then what the Paper Tiger does, it gives you a report of everything that is in that reference file drawer. Now, as you know, we only had one because we're just doing this class right now. And in that one cabinet, you see this their car title. Well, you can print out this report, and maybe your business partner or somebody you work with can review this list with you. Or if you're at home, you can work with your spouse or family member and say, you know, we have all these files. What do we want to do with them? And then they may say, well, we want to review. Let's take a look at it. Oh, it's time to toss it. Or we can transfer it somewhere else. And maybe what we do is we transfer it to now an archive file that goes into an offsite storage, or we can transfer it to an electronic form. And what we can do is go to our Google Docs. We can scan it into our Google environment and make it digital. And then you, with the use of the digital Tiger, you'll be able to find things that you uploaded into your scanner from your computer. So that just got a little bridge to how much more excitement is out there once you get to know the Paper Tiger. That if you are feeling overwhelmed with the paper and want to start getting things digitally, or you want to start scanning things, there is a way to do it. And I just like you to think about the methodology of getting organized first and know that there's a way to find it once it is in the Paper Tiger. Because in the Paper Tiger, when you go to look for something, sorry, I didn't set this up yet. You can go in and you want to show digital results, and anything that you have in your Google Docs account will start to show up. So if I had the word title, where did I put my title? Not that you would scan a title. But if I had a title, the car title is here. But if I had, what else do I have? I might have, okay, here's a book that I wrote, my other book that I wrote. The title, the document has the word title in it, and Google Docs, when it scanned it, used that OCR words, optical character recognition, to know that the word title is in this document. Now, that's a little bit more advanced, and I'm trying to keep things a little simple today because I've got a lot of beginners on the line. But I wanted to at least give you an idea of the hope that once you get organized with your paper, that you can definitely move to the digital version. That's all I have for today. I know Janet told you that I do offer a free consultation for people, that if you want to know if the Paper Tiger is for you, obviously I'm going to recommend it for most people because it has changed millions of people's lives for sure. And I've worked with hundreds of you over the last 10 years, so I have a really good idea how to set it up if you don't already know. And if you need some ideas, I'd love to work with you. I also would love to work with you on a coaching basis over the phone. I've had many, many people work with me over the phone, just an hour a week, and sometimes they bring their assistants on the phone as well, and we figure out how to set up their Paper Tiger. Or we just get them started for understanding how to deal with the mess in their space, just to even get started. Well, thank you, Janet. I'm sure you've got some thoughts of closing here.
Yes, Ann, thanks, and great. You did a wonderful job. We appreciate your time today and the helpful tips.